How's everybody doing? I wanted to share with you guys an episode from a podcast that Greydon Square and I are doing. It's called the Majestic Musings podcast. What we basically talk about on here is comic books, anything comic book related, from movies to television shows, video games, and even animation. We also at times get into in-depth discussions about certain reoccurring themes that comic book writers use inside their stories. If you're interested in this type of content, you can watch this live on Greydon Square's channel. I'll leave a link in the description box. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll talk to you later.
Yo. So welcome back. This is episode 3 of the Majestic Musings of Greydon Square and Tombstone the Dead Man, also known as Malik, Lord Entropy, and or Gray of Extropia. What's going on?
Oh man, it's always one thing or another, but I'm just glad that we're doing this show.
Yeah, man. So this is episode 3 for us, man. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been getting a lot of positive feedback from doing this.
Me too. I think in this new incarnation of the Gray and Tombstone show, because we've had like 2 incarnations of this previous.
Right. We're not going to get into why those didn't continue on. But suffice it to say that it's much more regular when there's, a minimal amount of people involved. So.
Exactly. Like you guys haven't even seen our final form.
No. And we want to make it real hot. We want to increase production value for this type of show, because ultimately we're going to tie this into weekly updates and updates regularly for our comic book. And as that starts to take shape and take form, we want an informed reader, an informed listener. Obviously it's a multi-medium project, not only a comic book to be read, but an album to be listened to, and continuing in that form. So we just want to make sure that all the people who are subscribed and who do listen to this on our subscription services, and the people who get a chance to watch and listen on YouTube. At the end of the day, they may not be entered into, the subscription contest and all that stuff, the raffle, but, they get a chance to see what's going on with Tombstone, myself, with other members of GU, with what we got going on with the comic book world and video games and just nerd culture in general. So I'm going to hit this bowl.
Because that's what we do.
That's what we do. Hey, so Civil War tonight at midnight.
Tonight at midnight, dude.
You're the guy when it comes to Marvel Civil War. You were the reason that comic book, and you were the reason why I even got back into comic books. Why don't you give the readers, whoever has been living under a rock, explanation of what Civil War is about?
Okay, so in the comic books, and I need to stress the fact that the part I'm talking about now is from the comic book perspective, because it differs from the movie from what I hear. But in the comic book, it was a case of you had some young heroes called the New Warriors. Doing a reality show, as it is. And they were chasing down a team of villains that was leagues above them, for real. And they were doing this shit for ratings. They screwed the pooch. They caught up with one of the heavy hitters on the supervillain team, Nitro. One thing leads to another. Nitro explodes. In that explosion, they kill about 600 or so people, 60 of which were children. This, of course, being on a reality show, was broadcasted live as it happened. So all across the country and probably the world, they saw this bullshit take place. Now, it's always been some rumblings underneath the surface of the Marvel Universe that some people have a problem with the superheroes taking responsibility when no one asked them to. There's no oversight, there's no transparency, and they go out there and get into these hyperthyroid battles with villains, tossing cars, destroying buildings, endangering lives, right? And most of these guys have secret identities, so who you going to sue? Who's going to be, held accountable if they fuck up and people get killed? They fly off in the sunset to lick their wounds, but regular people get caught in the crossfire. And that incident brought that point home to a lot of people, even to the people that were a bit more lenient with what the superheroes were doing. So the government, with Tony Stark, mind you, Tony Stark became an asshole to me from this storyline, because not because he wanted more oversight, but because of the way he went about it, and the way that I knew, like you guys know, in reality, if there were such thing as metahumans or enhanced humans, the government would be using them for their foreign enemies and other bullshit, which is something I wouldn't want to see either. And that's exactly what Tony pretty much had set up, where the superheroes were an enforcement arm of the government to a degree.
Right. Now, for people who don't know the difference between the comic book and the movie, can you give them a little explanation of why it's different and why they shouldn't expect? I'm gonna run out really quick though, but I'll be right back.
Okay. The thing is, the reason why it's different, and it's going to be different than the comic book, is for a couple of reasons. Some of them are just logistic reasons. There are hundreds of heroes involved in the comic book version. Hundreds. There's nowhere in the world Marvel Studios was going to be able to have that many characters on screen and pay everybody what they wanted to get paid. And just from a story standpoint, it's a 2-hour movie, whereas the Civil War comic book spanned over comics, like series of comics, and allowed certain things to be fleshed out. Not to mention the fact that a lot of the characters in the Civil War comic book have been around in the Marvel Universe for years. We already know their backstories. We already know everything pretty much about these characters. They have a lore, and they couldn't do that in the movies.
I love that word, lore.
Yeah, right. They couldn't do it in the movie because for only 2 hours, it's only a certain amount of characters over the last few years that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has existed that they've given a backstory to. So for them to start adding a whole bunch of extras like it would have been in the comic book just wouldn't have been feasible. So it's more of a, from what I hear, because I haven't seen it yet, it's more of a condensed version with kind of a similar overall theme, but with obvious alterations to the comic book story.
And my thing is I know a lot of people don't like when they deviate from comic book lore and source material. I've been one of those people, kind of, like where it's like, don't deviate from the source material too much. But I'll be honest with you, there's kind of no way around doing that with Civil War. Civil War was so long and so engulfed in the comic book. There's no way you can fit it in 2.5 hours. You simply can't.
It's not happening.
And so now they had to basically write a new story that would be Civil War in nature, but would not be Civil War in volume.
Right.
And ultimately, Civil War, the way it was in volume in the comic book, was just so, to be honest with you, it was exhausting.
Wow.
That was an exhausting story.
Yeah, it was, man. Like, it was so many working parts to that story, so many I don't know, like subplots going on. It's just there's no way they would have been able to mimic that. And I'm like you, when it comes to certain things, I don't want them to mess with the source material, but I'm not as fanatical about that as some geeks are. Like, for me, I recognize when the logistics will not allow for something to be the exact thing. My only issue is keep the characters the way the characters are. Like, whatever motivates that character over these years, the things that we know about this character, the way he thinks, the way he or she operates. I don't care what story you put them in, make sure it's that character. Because the moment you start pulling different aspects away, it no longer becomes that character. And hence the reason why I'm always just a bit disappointed when I see Thor on the movie screen.
Well, first of all, they've reduced him to just like
they've reduced
eye candy for chicks. It's like,
yeah.
They really screwed the pooch with him, I think.
He's so much more than that. And I get it. You can pull so many different writers have written Thor in either individual stories or group stories over the years. You can pull out a version of him that is shallow, that doesn't have a lot of meat to it. He's been around since the fucking 50s and 60s. So you can do that. Right. But in his greatest realization of what and who that character is, there is so much more to him than what they've shown. For me, being a fan and have read every single title he's ever been in, like, I know the character, and what I see on the screen is just a skeleton.
As an outsider looking in, is it fair for me to say that just from an outsider looking in, it seems like they've given more attention to Jane Foster Thor than they have
yes
Odin's son Thor? Like I'm not sure why the shift is to kind of reduce him to something like that. Maybe they just feel like it's a way to market him better. If you don't complicate something like this, then it'll succeed in its simplicity. Okay, I get that. But he obviously is not going to be around for any more of the like offshoot of Marvel's movies, right? Like the MCU. He's going to have this last Ragnarok movie, and then there's going to be up in the air whether, because that's his 3-movie deal, right? Is he going to be in the Infinity War?
Yeah, he's in Infinity. He's in Infinity.
Well, if he's in the Infinity War, then I take it back, because I actually.
But you know what they're going to do though? Like after they get this phase through it, you're going to see less of the early franchise characters and more of the newer characters that they're trying to. Because here's the thing: it's only so many stories you're going to be able to tell with those actors there. And if they want to evolve and expand the Marvel Universe and the cinematic thing and have this thing last for another decade or more, they're going to have to explore their other characters. This is how DC Comics fucked up, because it's Superman, Batman, Batman, Superman, Superman, Batman, Batman, Superman, Superman, Batman, Batman, Superman. That's it.
With the occasional Wonder Woman rumor.
With the occasional Wonder Woman tossed in. Now, mind you, I'm only speaking of the cinematic part. I'm not speaking about the animated.
I was going to say,
kicks ass with the animation.
Ass
all the time, every time.
They destroy. So let's not make any mistake here.
Yeah, they destroyed them. But I'm strictly speaking in the movie terms, and I think that's one of the things that kind of fucked DC up, because you're focusing on your heavyweights, and I understand that. But at a certain point, you have just a plethora of other characters that are dope, have dope backstories that you could be using. And it actually, when you elevate the lesser characters, you really elevate the main characters, because people start to see them in contrast with the rest of that universe, and then you really start to see their importance. Like you really don't know Superman's importance in the DC universe until you see him playing with others. Until you see his effect on the world around him, other heroes, other types of villains. That's when you see how important he is to the universe. The same,
or you see him join with the Source or turn into Superman 1 million.
Yeah, whatever. So it's one of those type of things. That's why I don't like, again, when they strip away important aspects of a character, because they no longer cease to be that character. They're only that character in look. They're not that character in motivation. And
I'm actually starting to think that Superman has become an obsolete character, an obsolete power set. Like, we already know that ultimately he's as strong as he needs to be. Therefore, we can assume that he'll win in most fights. That they're going to try to tell a story that he's going to be in, and that's cool. But it also makes the character very uninteresting.
Yes, it does. Very, very much so. That's an issue that, and I've told you, I got a lot of friends that are serious Hulk fans, especially my brother Napalm. He's a serious Hulk fan, and for a while I saw Marvel attempting to do that. Like they had Superman envy with him, making it so that he couldn't be beat, nobody could beat him, blah blah blah. And I was like, that's not what that character is supposed to be for. He's supposed to be extremely tough to beat. He's supposed to be a serious threat. When you see him on the screen or on the page, oh shit, something's gonna get smashed, but he's not supposed to be completely invulnerable and no one can take him out. And back to something you said about Superman, his power set, it's completely obsolete because he was the prototype of what heroes are now. If you look at some of the powers of some of these newer characters that came out after him, they're easily more interesting than the shit Superman can do. Okay, yeah, super strength, big fucking deal.
Everybody has super strength now.
Everybody has super strength. Yeah. Okay, he can fly. A lot of them can fly, but now you got those of them that can manipulate probability. You have those of them that can manipulate all different sources of energy, become light, phase through objects. Like,
create,
dude,
wormholes for themselves.
Wormholes. Come on, man. Like, seriously. Like, he looks like he's standing still because his power set is based on a bygone era when they was just starting to get the superhero thing going.
And anytime they compare him to try to talk about where, he is in the pantheon of all-time characters, they always compare him to people who's just as obsolete as he is. Like,
right.
Right. Like, I'm not a Dragon Ball Z fan, so I could be completely missing the boat on here. But I kind of look at both those characters as like characters of a bygone era of trying to figure out what a hero was supposed to be.
Yeah. And I think, to me, Spider-Man, I was having this conversation in my Reaper Life group. To me, Spider-Man is infinitely more interesting than Superman as a hero and as a character in general because of the circumstances around him and his life situation. The fact is, I can relate to Spider-Man a lot more. He had a job. He was broke most of the time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He would go out there and save the city or sometimes in some cases, save the whole world. And then come home, he had no food in his refrigerator.
Now, here's my question about Spider-Man. When did, before Civil War, did they ever write him working with Tony Stark like that?
He's had interactions with Tony Stark, but never to the degree that they've had him in Civil War.
So why do you think... No, go ahead.
I think what most people, we was also talking about this, most people don't realize who have been reading comics for as long as I have. At one time, Spider-Man was the face of the company. Right. Like on the old Marvel comic books, they would have his face in the corner of the comics, whether his character was in the book or not. That was Spider-Man's company. Other characters got more popular over the course of time, and it was good that they did. But the way Spidey was kind of second in command to Iron Man, sort of in the comic book story, I don't believe that would have been the case some years ago. The version of Spider-Man I grew up on years ago, I don't think so. But him leaving Tony Stark the way he did was definitely Spider-Man-like. That's Peter Parker. The way he left and said, "Fuck this, I don't agree with this shit at all." The way he left, that was Peter Parker-like. That was definitely Peter Parker-like.
So so this is a good segue because you talked about your brother being a Hulk fan. You are a big Thor fan.
Yep.
When did you know that you were like gonna be a comic book head? Like, how early do you know? Like, I'm in, because I had a pretty interesting week when it comes to comics. Is why this topic's even on this show. My girlfriend Lioness Saxa came out. We hung out for a couple of days, and I got a chance to introduce her to actual comic books.
Oh shit!
Right. So we're in this store, right? We're in the Zia store, and we're looking at all these comic books, and obviously there's the Avengers, there's Black Panther, there's Spider-Man, whatever. And she had never really ever, I think, picked up or even held a comic book before. So it almost made me jealous of this experience. Like, I wish I could go back and here's because my first comic book was an Aquaman comic book, and to be honest, it wasn't that overwhelming. Like, it was kind of underwhelming. I don't know why I went with Aquaman. I could have chosen any comic book in that. That was when Spawn. That was when Spawn was big. I probably could have got a Spawn comic.
You could have got a Spawn,
yeah, dog. But I really shit the bed on that one. So anyway, she picks up the Black Panther series, the one that ran concurrent with Civil War.
Ooh.
So she's in issue 13, 14, 15, and 16, right? And it's the one where Luke Cage, Brother Voodoo, Black Panther, and Blade are fighting vampires in New Orleans.
So insane.
Listen, guy, I became a fan again. Over her shoulder. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is nuts. I'm reading out loud. And it just made me think, like, are you ever too old to become a first-time lover of something? And it with comic books, where do you know where you're like, dog, this is where I can escape?
Right. I think the answer to I'm gonna tackle the last question first. I think it depends on the person, how open-minded you are, how comfortable you are in yourself when it comes to things like that. Because for the longest time, comic books were not viewed the way they're viewed now. There are a lot of people that look down on the medium. They call it a slum media. It's not real literature. It's not real art. It's whatever.
Dang.
Some of the same shit they used to say about hip hop, and some of them still do.
Right.
But it depends on the person. Because for me, I decided, like, when I was a kid, I hid my passion for comic books because I grew up in an area where that wasn't something that that was something that people was into like that. My first time what put me in where I knew, oh, I'm all in with the comics, was the first comic book I ever read. And it was surprisingly, it was a collaborative effort between Marvel and DC.
No way.
Yes, Superman and Spider-Man, and the Hulk was in it. Wonder Woman was in it. The main villains was Doctor Doom, the Parasite, and it was so much shit going on in this book. And my friend had it. My friend Pelix, he had it, and he let me hold it. I'm sitting in my living room, right in the corner, and I'm great. I know I'm not even fucking 12 yet. And I'm sitting down in the living room, and it's a graphic novel. It's the entire story in one book. And I'm reading this shit, and I'm completely immersed in this universe. I'm completely immersed in the characters. And from that moment on, I knew I was all in. I was almost like a crackhead looking for another. Okay, I need another story. Now, at this time, I didn't realize that this was a graphic novel. I figured all of them came with these.
I was just going to say
complete
that. I was just going to ask you that because, you know, you think about that. If you liken it to the crack analogy, there ain't no high like that first high.
No.
And you probably spend the rest of your life chasing what will never be.
Yeah.
You can never experience that first comic book experience. It's, you know, I mean, even if my shitty Aquaman experience, that was still my first experience. Probably can't replicate that, right?
Right.
But the way you're describing before you were 12 years old reading that comic book is you can't replicate that. That's a one-off experience.
It's one-off, dude. And I've looked for it. Don't get me wrong. I've had some great experiences reading comics, but it still wasn't. It hasn't topped that because that was the first time. I basically broke my cherry on that one. Right. You know what I'm saying? That was the first one. Don't get me like Executioner Song of the X-Men. Story had me lit, all right, but it still wasn't the same as that.
Well, I remember you describing me not Infinity Gauntlet, but Secret Wars.
Secret Wars, dude. Yeah. Completely.
And I got
insane.
that from both sides because not only were you telling me about Secret Wars, but then on the other side, ID's, who's a big Marvel guy as well. He was reading at the same time, talking about, Doug, have you read Secret Wars? I'm like, no, I haven't gotten to it yet. Leave me alone.
It's great, man. Like I said, I've had my fair share of like great experiences. The Thor Ragnarok thing was excellent. Gods on Earth, that whole line where Odin dies, Thor takes over and winds up eventually taking over Earth.
Doesn't he land Asgard on Earth?
He pretty much had Asgard hovering over New York.
Oh, okay.
He had it hovering over New York, and he was sending his guards down to stop crime. They were curing diseases. They were doing all this cool shit. He was going to other countries where they didn't have rain forever, making it rain for them, getting their crops, and put these special magic seeds so the crops will grow quicker. He was doing all this good shit. Catholic Church got mad because their God has yet to show up. Right. And this God is handling his business. They formed some little thing with the government, set him up, and try to nuke him on this island. hit him with like 3 nukes. It didn't work. You said it blew up. He came up out of that like, man, I'm mad now, though. I'm mad now. Why is I'm taking over Earth? Dude, it was a great story, but it still does not equal. Dude, just seeing Spider-Man and Wonder Woman fight each other for that little bit of time, because it was only like 3 or 4 pages.
Mm-hmm.
But to see them two together fighting each other in that first comic book, and how Spider-Man defeated her using his brain, because he knew physically he wasn't going to be able to fuck with her.
Yeah.
Yo, it's too dope, man. Too dope.
Well, I tell you what, for those people who are probably listening to this who are not comic book heads or anything like that, take a chance, like find a neighbor, like a local comic book shop, and just go in there with your headphones on, right? Don't, let them tell you anything. Just walk in there and just walk around and just look.
Find something to catch your eye. Pick it up.
Yeah, just pick it up and read a couple pages. If you don't really like the art, put it back. Keep going. Let's look for records. It's like looking for, vinyl to sample. You gotta be in a mood. So, if you don't have this experience, I'm pretty sure you can capture it if you can find your local, comic book shop, and hopefully we can bring some business to local comic book shops.
Yeah,
They need it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think everybody should have that experience, because it's just a different storytelling medium, and I feel like it's a very not forgotten, but maybe dismissed is a better word, form of storytelling. So
and please eradicate from your mind any ideas of what comic books used to be as far as writing, because there's always the stereotype where the characters are announcing their powers before they do it and all that other shit. That was back.
Holy nipples, Batman.
Right. Yeah, that was back then. The writers now are writing some provocative dialogue. The characters talk, even though they're in these extraordinary situations, they talk like you would expect regular.
Oh yeah. I mean, one of these things, one of these experiences that I can liken that to is in that Black Panther book, you got Luke Cage confronting Blade, saying that, look, you got 4, basically black superheroes protecting what is essentially a black city, and you down here, you want to act like an asshole. Right. And Blade in typical Blade fashion, and obviously I love the fact that they've drawn him like Wesley Snipes now.
Yes.
But Blade in typical Blade fashion is like, look, when you've been alive as long as I have, race don't really count for much. I'm a vampire at this point. Like, I'm more vampire than I am black. So at the end of the day, you can reconcile that however you want to reconcile that. But I just feel like that's another one of those things where it's like, that's a very provocative thing to write about, considering that a good chunk of your audience is probably going to be white.
Yeah,
a good chunk of your audience is not going to be black reading that comic book. And, I could see how some people could be like, well, why is that relevant? Why is that relevant to the comic book world? But it is, to give it, more of a root in reality. And that's why I think it's always important to consider the vantage of the writer and the perspective of the character, how the character was supposed to be perceived. So
absolutely,
I have no problem with that. I love provocative writing.
Yeah, and the writing, I mean, I know as someone that has been reading comic books since the 70s, I can tell you now, it's not like what people would think. It's not. It's just not. It's not like that anymore,
So I want to segue roughly into something else that's kind of related to that. We'll talk about new projects towards the end of the show when we are announcing our raffle winners. For those who are just tuning in, you're listening to the Majestic Musings of Greydon Square and Tombstone the Dead Man. We talk about video games, comic books,
geek culture,
more video games, more comic books. Yeah, geek culture. You know how we do it. So we're almost getting ready to announce our raffle winners this week, but we still got a couple of things we want to discuss, namely collectibles.
Ooh.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Now, for those who know me, I have one character. There's several characters that really hold close to my heart. There's one character from my childhood that I've always identified with, and that's Donatello from the Ninja Turtles. And I think it's safe to say that he actually may he may actually make me broke because there is not a Donatello figurine out there that I can really resist. I've added 2 more to my collection, and then I got one as a gift, this piggy bank. I gotta show it off. It's so stupid.
Dude, you do realize that's a crack. That's you starting a crack addiction with the novelties. I'm here to tell you right now.
Now, for those who obviously are listening to this on the podcast, you're not gonna be able to see it. But for those who are watching this on YouTube,
I mean, dude,
silly is that?
That's pretty damn dope. Oh, man.
And I mean, I collect all things Donatello. I don't even collect any other turtle. Like, there's one turtle, Donatello.
It's all about the Tello.
Yeah, Doc. Because I mean, he was the turtle that honestly bailed out the turtles more times than not.
Yeah, absolutely.
His technology, his strategy, his wit, his genius. He was always, I felt like, the right balance of all the turtles. He had the humor. He could get angry. He could lead, but he could be goofy. Like, he was, to me, the perfect balance. All the other turtles seem like extremes of themselves. Like, Leo is too uptight, and Michelangelo is too goofy, and Raph is too emotional. But Donatello always seemed like the greatest balance between all the turtles, and he was the one that I always felt like if they ever did like solo comics where it's like Leonardo, stuff like that, that I would read the Donatello comic way more because I would want to see how he thinks.
Right.
So anyway,
I get it.
Props to my Donatello. Thank you much for that. What can you say about collectibles that I can't say about my Donatellos?
Well, let me show you this one real fast. Hold on.
Oh yeah. For the people listening, they're like, we can't see. That's all right. I'll post pictures. I'll post pictures on the late night hour. You're listening to Greydon Square and Tombstone.
Okay, so
I just wanted to see if they were still listening,
Yeah. See if I can get a little light on the subject. I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is Thanos.
Oh, I saw the dopest Thanos mug. Oh my goodness. Let me see that one. I can't really see that one though because the light's kind of dark.
Yeah, the light's kind of,
let me see. Yeah. That's pretty fresh stuff.
Some adjustment.
Yeah.
Dude.
But I saw this one at the comic book shop, and it was silly. It's like a stupid, like, it was almost like a vase. It was like a Thanos vase.
Wow.
Yeah, it was sick. And they
I saw a mug like that too. It looked like an Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
And you put your hand in it, and it's like you're wearing an Infinity Gauntlet while you drink. Dude.
It's so silly. It's the dumbest thing ever.
That's the only cup I would drink out of. I would not drink anything else. That's it. I love collectibles. Do you have room for them though? Because I'm running out of room at this point.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking because that's not the only thing I collect. Like obviously, I collect Star Trek figures. I collect Clipper paraphernalia, but the Rams just moved back to LA, so I'm gonna get hella Rams gear, old school Rams gear. Right? So like, I have a big problem collecting things. Obviously, you can the word problem may be a stretch. I kind of feel like I love to hoard projects, and it got me thinking, man, like, what happens to my shit when I die? Like, don't get me wrong, you can pass it on to kids and stuff, but look, let's face it, my kids ain't gonna take care of my Donatellos. They may be Michelangelo fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows? They could be into like, Battletoads or some shit and sell off my stuff at a garage sale. So I'm just saying, like, what happens?
My experience with that is just going off of the way my wife is with her father's comics, because she still has them. They're still in the plastic. They're still in the boxes. Not all of them, because they had to sell some of them off, but a significant amount.
Mm-hmm.
And they're taking. She make sure they don't get wet anywhere. No place where they can get fucked up. So I think it largely depends on, one, how close you are with your kids, so that they recognize that your shit is one of the only, and their memories of you are the only things that's really left from your existence here. And I would like to think, because my daughter's a geek and my son is a geek, I would like to think that at least one of them, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
would take care of my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. No, I got you. I got you. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't have any kids yet. If I did, I'm sure they would, you know, have direct instructions to protect the
dude, I'm
at all
pretty.
costs.
And you tend to look. You introduce those little minds to the things you like. I did it.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, when she was a little girl, I had her watch the G.I. Joe movie. Because
Which
that
one?
was some shit. This the original G.I. Joe movie.
Oh, the original G.I. Joe.
The original. Movie. Yeah, I had her watch that shit. That and Transformers.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Of course. The same day. The same day.
So,
her and my nephew.
Here's the question: is so did she repeat the shit word when they say shit in the because remember this was the 80s, right? They were cussing in PG and G movies.
Yes,
people don't realize it was so commonplace. Now if you said like, oh, that sucks, that's a PG rated thing, like or a PG-13 rated thing. It's the scale is so different. I remember the Goonies, which was rated PG. They were saying bullshit and shit and making sex references and rape jokes and like it was like, oh wow, like this is crazy.
Doing all of that.
Yeah.
And that you know, my daughter, just a funny little side story, but kind of geeky and thing too. Me and my older brother Marlon used to stay playing either Madden or any of the wrestling games, SmackDown, any of those other games.
Oh, SmackDown was good, but WrestleMania 2000 was way better.
It was way better. So
Nintendo 64 killed the wrestling game, by the way, as opposed
they did. Yes, they did.
They were way better at that. Even WCW NWO versus the World was a better game than SmackDown was. SmackDown looked better.
It looked better, but the gameplay was so not even close, yo.
Terrible.
Not even close. So my brother and I, when we play, we talk shit. That's what we do. And we have little key phrases and insults that are just baked in the cake. This is shit that we say to each other at any given time of a game, especially when certain things happen in the game. So one day I went and got my daughter, and we was gonna hang out for that weekend. I'm going to the market, I'm getting stuff, and we on the way back to the apartment. And she wasn't no older than, I want to say 3. And she said, Daddy, you and Uncle Marlon gonna play the game? I said, we certainly are. She says, Uncle Marlon can't scrap. And she used to hear us say that to each other, but you can't scrap. All of that. I said, no, you can't scrap. And then she goes, and he gonna get his ass twisted. Because she heard I say that shit. Well, you about to get your ass twisted. I couldn't even be mad.
Hey, she was learning trash talking from the best. It's like, if you're not gonna learn trash talking from your dad, it's like, who else are you gonna learn it from?
Right. That's the truth. That's the truth, man. Yeah, like, so that's, my daughter grew up with a lot of the geek shit, the video games, comic book characters. I used to quiz her, man. Like, we would go to the mall and sit, go to the food court, have lunch, and sit there. I would quiz her on characters, their powers, what can they do. Ever since she was a little girl. She's 19 now. So, yeah.
That's pretty fresh, man. So, the last segment before we get to all of our duty stuff at the end of this podcast is premieres, right? So we talked about Civil War early. You know, this is always a comic book theme show, or at least in the realm of fiction.
Yeah.
Are you a big premiere guy? Do you go out to see movies when they first come out? Because I'll be honest with you, dog, I don't like it. I don't like the movie experience to begin with. I definitely don't like the premiere. I definitely don't like the first night. I don't like, weird, like, people trying to figure out if they should cheer or clap at the end or the beginning. And it's weird, dog. Like, people get weird at these movie premieres. And I don't like it, man, because, I get weird too. And it's like, if I got to get weird, then it's going to be weird for everybody involved. So it's just uber weird. Yeah, man. How do you handle, because I know I see you at premieres and stuff.
Yeah.
You actually go to those things.
Usually the times that we go is because, like, the movie theater that we go to, matter of fact, I did a video when the Avengers 2 came out at that same movie theater that I go to all the time. They reserve seats.
That's right.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Reserve seats. And if we can't get seats where all of us are together, it depends on what day they have seats available where all of us can sit together. It just so happened that a couple of those times have been on premieres. And you're right, it's super weird. Some of it is kind of cool though, in that the geeks really come out and you see some fairly amazing shit from cosplayers dressed in their shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Going to the movies. That's the upside. The downside is it's usually packed to the hilt. It's a bunch of kids, and I hate seeing movies with a bunch of kids.
Yeah,
I hate.
That's why I hope that The Killing Joke is going to be rated R, and if it is, then that premiere I may actually be at. Also, another premiere I may actually be at is the Independence Day premiere, just to celebrate the movie. The fact that Will Smith is not in that movie is a travesty, man.
Yeah,
that is. I don't even understand how that did not come to
Independence Day without Will. That's what my wife was like. How can it be Independence Day without Will Smith? Because I bet Jeff Goldblum's in that bitch.
Oh, he is. He's the main character now. He's literally the main guy now. He was kind of the main character in the last movie, but it's like Will Smith was just as big of that. What's the guy? Important. Yeah. Well, what's the president? Whoever played the president?
I forget his fucking name. Because I always get his name mixed up with Bill Paxton.
Is that Bill Paxton? That might be
Bill
Bill Paxton.
I don't think. Is it Bill Paxton? I thought Bill Paxton was the dude from Aliens.
And then the wife played President Laura Roslin in Battlestar Galactica. What was her name?
She sure did. I forgot her name too, but she damn sure did.
Yeah.
She damn sure did. Damn.
I know. But anyway, premieres suck unless it's something that I really, really respect, and it's still probably
unless it's a Extropy and Entropy premiere.
Then that premiere is the greatest premiere of all time.
You need to go see that.
If we get our own movie, what are you talking about? If we have anything like a premiere for our own movie,
forget about it. And I don't even want to be a major character, but I do need to appear in somewhere in that film so that I exist in that universe. I need to appear somewhere. I don't give a fuck if I'm just.
You don't care if you're a dead extra getting slaughtered.
I don't give a damn.
Lord Entropy just takes doom to you.
Right. If I'm just a casualty, I could be Aeonian, just a casualty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
That.
Well, at the end of the day, it's like it takes a lot to get a movie. I'm not ever going to assume that we'll ever get there. But one thing I will say is I like writing stories. And the fact that, it's like this is a project that literally secretes new projects because it always gives you a hand to play. After you created this story, it took us, how long did it take us to write the first issue story out? And basically about 2 years, right?
About 2 years to get that first story out. And once we did that, that shit opened up.
Yeah. And someone asked me about that. They were like, it took you guys 2 years to write one issue. And I said, yeah, we had to create a universe first.
Mm-hmm. And not only were we creating just that issue of that story, because of the way our minds work, we got a skeleton of the entire first run.
Landscape. Yeah.
Landscape. No, that's how we do. That's how we do. So we know where our characters are going, where they're going to end up. Of course, there might be some alterations depending on how we feel at the time once we get the story written down. But yeah, we didn't just write the one book. No, we wrote that, created the universe, and did the skeleton timeline for the entire first run. So that's why it took so long.
But I don't think taking a long time is a bad thing.
No, not if you get it right.
I'm definitely not gonna say that. It took X amount of years to do this, and that means if it's a failure. Nah, I'm not into rush material anyway. I will say this though, you want to have something that you feel like will be sustainable.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to have something that gives you 16 issues and then you're already telling the same story again.
Exactly.
And I don't feel like our comic book universe does that. I feel like our comic book universe, within I don't know, within an hour of conversation, we were able to think like maybe 50 issues out.
Yeah. Right.
On something like,
right.
Whoa, this is nuts. And it was consistent with what we were trying to do within the universe. So
yeah. Now not only the 50 issues progressing forward.
Oh yeah.
but at least 50 going back.
Right. Negative issues. We wanted to do issues going both ways. So it's like you have issues, you have issue 0, which is the first issue you guys will be introduced to, and then we'll do 1 to I think 8. Did we decide, or 9?
It'll be about 9.
Right.
1 to 9.
And we were going to tell from -9 up to issue 0.
Yeah, backstory
All the way back up. So, I mean, it's never really a completely new project because we're always kind of building on ideas we either have had or that we have always kind of had an idea of. But in the context of what it could breed, it's forever a new project, because anytime I sit down at the keyboard and I'm thinking about writing for E&E, it literally takes me over. Like I've never felt that way. Only way I've ever felt that way is when I'm writing rhymes.
Exactly.
That's how I knew I was doing something, legit.
Exactly. Same here. It's one of those things where you get so immersed in the material. And like I said, we literally created a universe on top of another universe. Like, we needed to get the sandbox straight. We had to get the sandbox straight because, so especially somebody like me who, now I'm a comic book fan, I wasn't going to put out any bullshit. I didn't want the art to be bullshit, and I didn't want the story to be bullshit, especially not the first run, because the first run sets the tone for that entire book. Sets the tone, period. Your experience from reading those books there will forever color the way you see those characters.
Agreed.
So it has to be, I need to be sure, and Greydon feels the same way, that this is the vision we had up here on the page.
Yeah, man. At the end of the day, I think you guys will be pretty satisfied. Still a couple more months to go, but at the end of the day, I think you guys will be pretty entertained with what we have to offer and the story we're telling, because I think it's a damn good story.
Yeah, damn good.
So,
and it leads itself to other things. So.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, multi-medium, obviously we're telling, it's a comic book, but it's also an album where we get to actually rap from the perspective of our characters.
Yeah.
So, that's extra dope.
Yes, it is.
So, I definitely want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you're on the YouTube side of things, obviously you're not a Bandcamp subscriber, but let me tell you what you'd get if you were a Bandcamp subscriber. So,
what would they get, Greg?
They would actually get my entire discography. If you subscribe to Tombstone, you would get his entire discography, from all the music that he's made to all the unreleased subscriber exclusive content that he's made. I do the same. This particular podcast that we do is a weekly thing, so we put it up on our subscription services, each of our prospective fan bases and our cross fan base as well, because we share a lot of fans as well.
Overlap, yeah.
They buy into both subscriptions, and then they have access to both artists' discography. I actually think that's the best way to support artists. When people say, "What's the best way I can support you?" I say, "Hey, subscribe to my Bandcamp page," because honestly, it's a way you actually keep me working. And you keep the people around me, working as well. So,
and you keep the projects funded, all the albums and everything. Like,
absolutely. So anyway, for the people on one other thing I didn't mention is we do this weekly raffle. If you're a subscriber, if you're one of X amount of subscribers, then you're entered automatically in this raffle, and we pull your name randomly, and basically we ship you something. So if you're interested in becoming a raffle participant or something like that, make sure you subscribe to either my or Tombstone's subscription on Bandcamp, or both, because you'll be entered into both. So, because he does it with me, I do mine, he does his.
Absolutely.
So, this week's winner for me, or do you want to do yours first?
Let me get mine out the way, because this week's winner is somebody that, even though this was completely random because of the name picker, but he definitely is somebody that I'm glad the name popped up. Cyrus. Cyrus.
Cyrus.
Yeah, Cyrus. I'm trying to pronounce his last name is very hard to pronounce. I think it's Harbor. I don't even want to butcher it, but Cyrus is very active in Reaper Legion and the G Universe completely active in all the groups.
Reaper Legion, huh?
Yeah, and it's like he's somebody he's a admin on one of my pages. Like he's definitely a good dude and he deserves this. So yeah, you have won the raffle this week.
Hey, what did he win?
He won, and I'll contact you to find out which one of my physicals.
No, I'm just playing.
Which one of my physical copies you don't have, you're about to have, along with a secret geek gift.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
I like stuff like that. All right. So congratulations to Cyrus on the Reaper side, on the Reaper side of the house. Let's do the trans intellectual side of things. So mine came up Mark Thomas, and without giving up too much of his information, congratulations, Mark Thomas. You will win hope you're an extra large size, because that's the only size I had left of the shirt.
Well, you can always put it on the wall.
Absolutely. This is a Type 3 Omniverse blue and color t-shirt. So if you're interested, this is what you won.
Nice.
I guarantee you that not too many people have this. So yeah, man, I'll definitely ship that to you if I have your information. If not, contact me, Mark Thomas. So congratulations to Cyrus and Mark Thomas, both of our winners this week for the raffle.
We need like an applause sound.
I know. I'm gonna have it next week. You said it, now I'm gonna have it next week. So are you're gonna go see Civil War this weekend, or can we expect a somewhat of a review without any spoilers?
Yes, you will have a spoiler-free review. I'm going to.
Because I'll be honest with you, I'm 40-60 on it. I don't know if I'm gonna go see it because I hate fucking premieres. I don't like them.
Right. But it's a big deal. Like I watched the official premiere in California on the Marvel website because I'm such a geek. Listen, I'm a geek when it comes to the process too. How they put the story together, how they do the special. I'm a geek for all of that shit. So yeah, I watch that shit. Yeah, I'm going tomorrow and definitely going to give a spoiler-free review.
Fantastic.
So look out for that.
All right, so next week, make sure you guys get your subscriptions in to be entered in, because you never know what you're going to win. It could be an autographed Donatello figure. It could be a Kit Kat bar. It could be a cat. It could be a cat. You could win a cat. Like, you don't even know. On this podcast, you don't even know.
You don't even know.
I just want to thank my guest, Tombstone the Dead Man, aka Lord Entropy, and for myself, Greydon Square for Grand Unified Theory. We just always want to appreciate you guys for supporting us and making it possible for us to do what we do. So thank you very much. We're going to get on out of here. What's up?
Before we leave, is there anything you want to let them know about? Anything you promoting that you want to let them know about?
I got an interview that's coming out with Buck Bowen. I did an interview this weekend in Long Beach. That was real dope, actually. He helped me shoot a music video as well, at least part of one. I did half a fifth because I'm going to transition it into another song.
I saw some of your Instagram pics.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that. All my subscribers are going to get early looks at that stuff. If you're not a subscriber, don't expect to see that till it actually comes out. But if you are a subscriber, you will see it. So, and then that's pretty much it. What about you?
Nothing except for all the guys out there listening, check out my geek channel, Reaper Legion Network. I talk about comic books, comic book reviews, video gameplay shows, also do a wildlife series, and I'm adding to that some museum tours and natural preserve tours. So go check it out.
So it's like a website version of this.
It's a YouTuber. It's just a YouTube channel.
But that's awesome.
I'm doing it like imagine how you would see some TV network. That's how I'm doing this.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys should go check that out, man. Absolutely. All right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. We appreciate all the listeners, all the people who showed up on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, we'll leave this up. Obviously, YouTube viewers won't be entered into the raffle, but shit, you can still get a chance to listen to the show. Yeah, you still get the content, so whatever. You know what I mean? Anyway, thank everybody on YouTube for hanging out, and then all the people on the Bandcamp subscription page Much love. Thank you for your subscription, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
And I always turn that one off before I turn this one off, so the people on YouTube get to see us extra. Should we hang out? Should we just hang out for 5 extra minutes to give the YouTube people something extra? Yeah, we should hang out and talk some shit, dog. I think I knew the Batman versus Superman movie was going to be terrible.
It's terrible, dude.
I knew it was going to be terrible.
Here's the thing about it, right? When people talked about it previously and completely said there was nothing good in it, that's not true. There's a little bit, but for the most part,
right?
Bad pacing. Certain sequences seem like one shouldn't have came before the other. And I'm a geek when it comes to filmmaking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a geek to all of that. So I can pick out when something, I wouldn't have put that sequence in right there. I wouldn't. And I felt myself doing that a lot in that movie. The only thing for me that I can say they did that, was they didn't downplay Wonder Woman as far as her power levels, because I just knew they was going to nerf the fuck out of her, but they didn't. That's it. Like, the rest of that, I don't think that's a good intro into the DC cinematic universe. I don't see now.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that DC does small screen very well, big screen very bad.
Yeah, they do TV wonderfully.
I think they
animated movies.
If they would just stick to just doing like the Batman, Superman animated movies that they do with the.
And I love those.
Did you see the Justice League? Did you see Justice League versus Teen Titans?
It was awesome. Raven is just a piece.
I love that movie. So
like,
this is not a DC bashing thing. I don't want to make people think
these days I read as much DC comics as I do Marvel comics. So I love the DC universe, but I just didn't think that shit there.
Yeah. Nah. Could have been worse.
Nah. Yeah.
Could have been worse.
Could have been worse. But it wasn't. When I see people saying it's a great movie, I go, let me respectfully disagree. Like,
and then I see people saying that Ben Affleck is the best Batman. I'm like, yeah, okay, sure.
Look, man.
Well, sure, man. I mean, it's like we become prisoner of the moment. It's like,
they were saying that. I'm gonna tell you another thing that really is crazy, because, like you said, prisoners of the moment. Now that movie came out, people were saying that now, but I remember how people felt about Christian Bale in the first one. So this is what y'all saying now. This is what y'all saying. It's the same as with the first 2 Spider-Man movies were great. That last one sucked ass. When you got some years behind that movie and they came out with the Amazing Spider-Man one with the new dude Andrew Garfield, who I did prefer as Peter Parker more so than Tobey, right? I heard all these people saying
preferred Andrew Garfield over Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, I'm on the other side. Parker. I'm definitely on the other side of that. Okay.
Yeah, as Parker, yeah. Because I'm gonna tell you why. The main reason. Tobey was great as high school Parker. Right. That's exactly how high school Parker was. However, by the time he got to college, that is not what Peter Parker was. Peter had a girlfriend. Peter was cool. Like, even the guy that was his high school enemy, Flash Thompson, became his homie. He was, and Tobey did not, the way they portrayed that's not how Peter was by the time he got to Empire State University. Yeah, he was a geek all through high school. But when he went to Empire State University, he got cool. And Tobey still was a geek. he still was a geek. He still wasn't cool. Andrew was cool. Like, he was a geek.
My problem with Andrew is he was never believable as a high school Peter Parker, and therefore was never really believable as Peter Parker. And then he just looked like a big ass dude in a fucking red suit, and it was just like, I get it.
I'm gonna tell you what I didn't like about him.
The source story they changed a little bit.
Yeah. That's because they went for the ultimate Spider-Man storyline and not 616. That's
basically. I never read the Ultimate comics, by the way. So
yeah, you're not really missing nothing. The only thing I would say that you might want to check out, I gotta get the exact title so you can try to find it. There is a team with Black Panther, the Blue Marvel, who is a fucking beast. Who else is on this team? Monica Rambeau, she's on there. Captain Marvel, she's a fucking beast. You need to get that book.
Yeah,
their first issue they were beefing with like Galactus. They start off with a bang. Like Galactus has been transformed. You got to read the story, but he is in the Ultimate Universe, he is no longer what we think of him in the 616. They have transformed him into something else. And the story is getting real interesting, but I don't want to give you too many spoilers. But
oh man, I kind of want to hear that though.
Anytime,
tell me off air.
you have a team, I will. Anytime you have a team with the Blue Marvel and Black Panther on it, you want to read that book. You want to read the book.
Well, who's the Blue Marvel?
Dude, the Blue Marvel is he's basically a retconned character. They retconned his past like he did Century. He's a black guy. His power is antimatter. He's powered off antimatter. Dude, he beat the shit out of Century. Like he's uber powerful, yo. Like his backstory is dope as fuck. He was supposed to be this hero during the right before the Civil Rights era, right? During the Civil Rights era, he was a hero and he was doing great things, but he wore a mask. So the rest of the country didn't realize he was a black man under that mask. And once they did, there was some shit. And the president at the time told him, look, I love the fact that you saved the world. I appreciate that, but I don't think the country is ready to see a black man with that much power. So he went dormant for decades. And he wound up having to come back because his main nemesis came back, who was almost as powerful as he is. And dude, this is dope. It's dope. I'll definitely send you a link to his origin story. It's dope, yo. It's dope.
All right, good. Because after I read this Black Panther story, I'm definitely gonna read that.
Dude, he easily sons Superman. He sons like yo. Blue Marvel is the truth.
Superman's a buster anyway. Superman's a buster, dog. All right, for the YouTube crowd, appreciate you guys hanging out with us after show. We'll catch up with you guys. Peace.
Peace.